another RMA Fire tutorial. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about how to use the Voronoi fracture and the material fracture inside of Houdini. So let's get started with a geometry. Coming to the geometry, and I'm gonna break a box. So first things first, we need to check out the parameters. So I'm hitting P on my keyboard, and this is gonna be a polygon mesh, and I'm gonna make this 10 by 10. So using the Voronoi fracture, the first thing we want to do is scatter some points. I'll actually do points from volume. And then we use less points, something like that. And I want to jitter them and move the scale so that they're positioned in different place. I'm gonna hit D here, and I'm gonna create bigger points so we can see them a little bit better on our viewport. So we're gonna bring in the Voronoi fracture, and you see right here the geometry through fracture, and right here the point cells. So we're gonna put this here and this here, and and there we go. We'll do an explode view so that we can check out what we have. As you can see, the Voronoi fracture breaks it based on where the points are. So if we make this less, we're gonna have more broken pieces. And then inside the Voronoi fracture, we have a couple of options that we can tweak. The Voronoi fracture, the interior cusp angle. So you can see that it's changing the normals of the inside of the geometry. And the outputting attribute name. So this is really important because the interior and the exterior groups allows us to texture the inside and the outside in different ways. So for example, let me lay down a color and say we wanted to get the points on the inside being green. So we're gonna say outside or inside, whichever one, and you see it's gonna color them. Right now I've got this set to class to color. We're gonna set it to primitive, and there we go. We would be able to apply different textures for the inside and the outside pieces. This is also useful if we wanna, control the subdivisions or something that we wanna control specifically on the inside pieces. And we can also output different other output attributes and like customized attributes to output. Okay, so just so that I can show you guys the theory a little bit easier, if we were to create another points from volume right here, and say we make this super dense like a 0.1, even denser, something like a 0.5, and I'm going to just use the lasso to select a bunch of points. Bunch of points like that. I'm gonna delete them, and I'll say delete non-selected, and then I'm gonna merge these points with the other points. And then as you can see, this basically breaks the Voronoi breaks the pieces where we've got the points. So if I were to even create more points in here, it's gonna be even more dense on this little piece. So that's how you control where the Voronoi is breaking. So let's copy this box, paste it here. And then the material fracture is just a more robust setup. So we're gonna put in the geometry here, and we are gonna this is for extra impact points, like for so for the RBD material fracture, you don't need to use the points like we were doing with the Voronoi fracture. So if we come here, it basically has a Voronoi input inside of it. So the primary fracture, we can input scatter points, so we can do something like a 10. And you can already see that, you know, less points is giving us much more detail. So this is scattering points as well, like scattering cell points based on a volume. And then we can increase the volume's resolution here, and that's going to dictate how many points are being distributed there based on a noise. So we can do like a 0.5. That's going to change the output variation of this, and then the cutoff density. Now what I really like about this is that we have the ability to add a different layer here. So if we come into number 2, this is the second fracture level. So say we do a 10. So what this is doing, it's breaking the pieces that we've already broken. And then we have also the ability for this noise field here, and then we have the ability to do chipping. So let's do some chipping here. So as you can see, it's going to grab the pieces and shatter them into more detailed pieces. So the same pieces that we've already broken, you can see the kind of chipping that it does. It kind of like it's really cool because it kind of grabs the pieces that we've already got and kind of chips away a little piece. So that adds another layer of detail. You can see, like, for example, this one's right here. And then we can also increase the amount, and we've got the detail here for the interior detail, or for the edge detail. So we're gonna add the interior detail, so it immediately applies a noise onto the inside, so that it feels like the inside has more subdivisions, and it's more, and it has some sort of noise. So if we were to decrease this, increase, you can see that I've added quite a bit of noise in there. And then we can decrease the amplitude a little bit. So you see, we can control how much noise we've got on the inside. And it's not affecting the outside. So if we come here, you see that it's still just a simple box. But then when it breaks, you see, like, oh, it has like all these rocky pieces or whatever you want. Okay, and then the constraints, this is the glue constraint network, so that once we do RBDs, some of them break and stay together, and then they begin to break later in the simulation. All right, so this button right here allows us to create more fracture levels, and then we've got the option to fracture per piece. So as we can see here, it loops through each piece of the input geometry and fractures them individually. So we'll have many more pieces. So in total, we see we have 40 primitives, 40 broken pieces. Now we've got 41. Okay, and then the last thing that I wanted to show you guys about this setup is that we can actually change the type of material, the type of way this is being broken. So this is a concrete. Now we're gonna change it to glass. As you can see, it sort of shatters it as if, you know, as if the kind of material that we're using. And then wood, it's gonna give us those splines. See how cool that is? So we get all those really detailed, really awesome way of breaking geometry. Okay, so this has been a quick intro to the Voronoi fracture and the material fracture inside of Houdini. We'll be back with more